This story begins 5 years ago, when I started to create videos of myself working out. I was something like 18 or 17 years old, and my whole life was lifting weights, going to the gym, and powerlifting. So I started making these little videos of me working out. And sooner or later, I was more interested in the camera work, the editing, the angles, and everything that went into making the videos themselves, not the actual fitness content. All of a sudden my friend said, "Have you thought about going to film school?" And I'd never thought about going to film school. It was like being an astronaut or a cowboy. And then I saw that movie about that cowboy that goes into space, and I thought, well, maybe I should go too. First things first. I went to film school in the UK because the cost of attending the whole film school program in the UK for 3 years was the same as attending 1 year of film school tuition at NYU, USC, Columbia, or any other big LA or New York film school. And it's also kind of nice to be in London. Hey kids. Welcome to film school. You've got 1 semester to make a film every 2 weeks. So you set out with confidence and inspiration to make all these films. Remember this face. And looking back, really the most important thing during those first couple films wasn't the films that we actually made, but the people that you made those films with, because those people would in turn later on become the people that you made your final films with.
He enjoys his tea with a hint of Tabasco.
Camera rolling, market.
And you see, by your 3rd or 4th film, you're starting to use a slate, you're starting to use better equipment, you're getting more confident in your filmmaking, you're starting to understand what it really takes to make a film. And then you finish these first couple films you make in your first year, and you think, what am I writing? I realized I'd never even read a real screenplay before. After reading so many screenplays and reading about writing, I finally wrote something where I thought that, you know what, I might actually be able to do this. The rehearsal was me trying to make a film like I'd never made before, something new, something different, something experimental. A finished film, film festivals, more reading and more writing. And I finally thought to myself, I think I'm ready to make my final short film that I make for film school. And shooting a documentary in Guatemala directly inspired me to make my last film. And with the other side, it was the first time that I really felt confident in my writing and the preparation that I did as a filmmaker to go in with the crew and the teammates that I had to make this film and to put our visions to life, to put in all the hard work we made onto the screen. And I can say that making The Other Side was the most frustrating, fulfilling, and rewarding experience of my filmmaking career so far. But then what? Film school's over, you've graduated, and you've got to get a job. So you finished film school, and the question is, did film school prepare me to get a job? Well, I get a job because I went to film school, and I think maybe the answer might be that film school itself won't get you a job. It's not like being an engineer or a lawyer. When you finish and you have your diploma, people aren't going to hire you because they're like, oh, you have a film school degree, come, I'll make you a director, I'll make you a cinematographer. It's the opposite. You have to show the work, you have to show the films that you've made to get a job. And it's interesting then because, you know, you don't have to go to film school to be a filmmaker, and you're not going to get a job because you went to film school. So then is it worth it? And I think Spike Lee put it into very good words in the interview that he gave here.
Thinking that because you have this degree from this prestigious institution, NYU or USC or AFI, Columbia, in the real world, they don't really give a shit. You know, if you don't have the talent, that degree doesn't mean a thing.
And I agree with that. So what do I do? How can I improve my chances of becoming a filmmaker, making a career out of it? Well, I think maybe the number one way is by making more films. So I set out to make 1 more film before I left London. And action. You got nothing to lose now. You know you want to make films, you know it takes a lot of work, and you know you need to make films to be able to be a filmmaker. So you don't stress out when your door breaks. You've been through this before, and it's becoming less of figuring it out and more actually just executing it. And so there you have it. The last film I made before leaving London. And what's the moral of the story? Was film school worth it? You tell me. Film school didn't teach me how to write a screenplay, how to edit a film, how to even make a film. What it did teach me was people to learn from and to work with to make films. Because that's the most important thing I think film school gives you, the people. You start alone with dreams of making films, but you really find out that making films is a collaborative process, and you need other people that are passionate and like-minded like you to make films. And film school is the absolute best place where you can go and do that. Whether it's worth the cost, whether it's worth the time, the money, the effort, I can't say, that's up to each individual person, but I wouldn't have made the films that I made and had the time and the place to make mistakes and to make films to be able to learn from them and make even greater films from then on forward. So maybe the films that I made in film school will get me a job, because film school itself hasn't. And if those films don't get me a job, then I'll just keep making films however I can until I can find a job sooner or later. So I've made this Discord server for the channel, and I'd love for you guys to join. There's already people on there. We've been discussing films and what we're working on, what we're looking forward to working on, what movies we're watching, and I really want it to be a place for discussion and conversation about filmmaking, storytelling. So I really hope that you have a chance to check out the Discord server and stick around, say hello, just read, whatever you want to do.